Yo, what is going on, Jets Nation? It's your boy Richie, and today I wanted to share my thoughts of the news we just heard from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show today, that he's officially not going to be playing this season. He is not 100% medically ready to play football, and the reason why I even had to make this live stream and talk about this news is because there's been rumors and news circulating. I mean, we got a report Saturday night saying that Rodgers is going to be medically cleared. I mean, where are these reports coming from? So Aaron Rodgers goes on the Pat McAfee show, and he says that he could be 100% in 3 to 4 weeks, and he's been eyeing a potential playoff run if the Jets are able to salvage the season and get there. But the reality is he's not going to push it. The Jets are eliminated from the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers is done for the year. But there's something more important to talk about. That's not even the title of the video that Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show. And that is that they asked Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show about his commitment. Is next year going to be your last dance, your last opportunity to play with the Jets, and maybe even retiring after next year? And he fully committed to the New York Jets for 2 seasons. He said that when he came here that he wanted to play 2 years with the Jets, and he felt like this past year was a crapshoot where it kind of doesn't count in his brain, and he wants to play into his 40s. He thinks he's mentally and physically prepared to play into his 40s. He wants to be the starting quarterback for the Jets next season, but he also wants to be the starting quarterback for the Jets the year after that. So, interesting stuff. And of course, they asked him about his opinion on the Jets regime, and he backed everything. I mean, he was speaking glowingly of the entire team and, giving Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, and Nathaniel Hackett his perspective and his praise. So it's kind of interesting because us Jets fans are so frustrated right now, beyond comprehension, of how bad this team looked on Sunday and how just disastrous the season has been in the entirety, where it's hard to even listen to Rodgers and get any excitement out of it because of where we're at in this current moment of the season. Mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, 5-game losing streak, losing 6 of the last 7 games. And there's no reason that this coaching staff is believing us that they even look like they know what they're doing, right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers can speak and tell us these things and give us, opportunities to believe in the future. But the reality is it's hard for us as fans to believe in something that we haven't seen, right? So that's really my thought about it. But the good news is, in my opinion, that Aaron Rodgers is fully committed, and it's good to hear that he's back in the team, right? It would be crazy if he went on there and just trashed everything, and it would have been like a big, crazy negative thing that's going on. But Aaron Rodgers seems to be, fully bought into what Joe Douglas is doing still, and Robert Saleh. And, of course, he's going to back his buddy Hackett. And I think that's going to be I'm really curious to see how that kind of has a ripple effect in the Jets fan base, whether they're going to start turning on Aaron and say, oh, he doesn't, get him out of here, or is the Jets fan base going to rally around Aaron and be excited? Because the sad truth of the reality is, guys, is that the entire offseason was about Aaron. Everything about it. We brought in all of his friends, and I'm not telling you something you don't already know. He brought in all of his friends, Randall Cobb, you name it. Billy Turner. I don't need to go through all of his friends. You guys know who I'm talking about. And the entire offensive game plan in training camp was to install the Aaron Rodgers system of pre-snap reads, the nuance, all these things, hand signals, and it all got ripped away in 4 snaps. And the Jets coaching staff proved that they were not ready and not prepared to handle that type of injury. roster-wise, right? The offense has been depleted with injuries all across the offense, right? The defense, we don't even need to say one negative thing about the defense. It's more of the offense, and it starts with the coaching staff, starts with the medical staff, if they have anything to say about it, because they're not, doesn't seem like they're doing their job, because this offensive line just simply can't stay healthy. We've had 13 to 14 different starting five at the offensive line position. It's really hard to survive as an offense there. And on top of that, the quarterback play has been atrocious all season long, right when Aaron Rodgers went down. So the Jets did not have a backup plan for Aaron, and now Aaron's coming out there publicly telling the world that he still believes in the organization. He's fully committed to the New York Jets. He felt like he has a new passion, a new joy for the game of football ever since he came to the New York Jets. He never thought that he'd be playing into his 40s, but since he came to One Jets Drive, he kept speaking glowingly. And I'm just telling you how it is of what Aaron Rodgers said literally a few minutes ago on the Pat McAfee show, and he was saying that he loves all the people in the building. He's developed great relationship with his teammates. And someone, that just turned 40 years old, that is coming off an Achilles, wants to be out there for 2 seasons, if not more, with the New York Jets. Now, I don't know if a guy in Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles going into year 40 in terms of his life is going to excite anybody for next season. But the reality is we just don't know. The Jets fans, unfortunately, have to live in this what-if scenario of this hypothetical world of what was the Jets season even with Aaron Rodgers this year. We'll never know. We're not going to see him for the rest of this year officially, which is the best move, by the way. And we're not going to be able to see it until the start of the 2024 season. So now we have a whole offseason of a big question mark, a giant fat question mark around the season ahead of us in 24. And it's sad that we're even talking about next year because the season is not even over that we're in right now. 3 games left, and we're not even talking about the Commanders game coming up because who cares, right? But that's kind of the reality. It's a good thing that Aaron is still committed to the team, and we don't know what this team looks like with Aaron Rodgers. I'll tell you that it would be I'll completely say this, and if people disagree, they can disagree, and it's hypothetical. So maybe I'll be proven right or wrong next year, but I still will stand on my 10 toes and say that this Jets football team would be in the wild card race right now if Aaron Rodgers was healthy all year long. Now you might say, well, Richie, the offensive line is going to be injured all year long. Rodgers was inevitably going to get injured because of the pressure rate that he would have had to deal with. Yeah, okay, you can make that argument. But I'm just saying in a hypothetical world, Aaron Rodgers has not missed a game yet to this point, based off what I saw from this defense this season, based off what I saw from the special teams at points this season, and based off what I saw from the development of Garrett Wilson in year number 2, and what Breece Hall can do when he gets the ball in open space, I think Aaron Rodgers would have done enough to win some of those games against the Falcons, against the Raiders, against the Chargers, even against the Patriots. Not saying they would have won all of those games, but Rodgers would have found a way to score enough points to beat those teams because of how good the defense has been playing. I really don't think that's a far stretch for me to say that. And if you think it is, I don't know what to tell you. The offense without Aaron Rodgers was terrible, and the offense was constructed and all centered around Aaron Rodgers. And you can say that was a mistake from the first place. You can, because you can't put all your eggs in one basket and not have a backup plan. That's what happened. They put all their eggs in one basket of Aaron Rodgers. He goes down in 4 snaps, and everything starts to turn on top of its head. And all that preparation, all that work, all that mental strain, everything about the offseason and the training camp period was for nothing, because the entire offensive install was about Aaron and getting on the same page with him. So we just don't know what a reality is with this Jets team with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback. So now, he was saying that they need a reload on offense. Now, what does that mean? I think in the first round, the Jets are definitely going to target, either an offensive tackle or a wide receiver. I think there's no excuse for any other position besides that. You can argue a quarterback as well. If the quarterback is on the clock that they love in the first round, that is definitely a conversation I'm willing to have personally. But based off them going, all in with Aaron Rodgers, and you got to also keep in mind this, folks, as sad as it is, and I know that we're losing right now and we're out of the playoffs, this Jets team is still in win-now mode. This team is not ready for a rebuild. The rebuild is behind us. We have so much talent across this team on cheap contracts. So the window to win is now, and that's the saddest truth and the saddest reality that we're in, is that the window to win is today, and we're not making the playoffs this year. But that window is still wide open next year because there's so many people on this team that's coming back next year. The only people that are potentially not returning is Bryce Huff because he could get paid by another team. Unfortunately, it's just the reality of it that Bryce Huff, there is a chance that he leaves the Jets. I'm hoping he returns for obvious reasons. Mekhi Becton could be moving on from the Jets, which I don't really know if that's a big deal because he has not played good at left tackle this season for the Jets more often than not, especially at protecting the quarterback. But outside of those two names, there's some other guys like Greg Zuerlein, Thomas Morstead, Solomon Thomas, Quentin Jefferson, small one-year contracts, Jordan Whitehead, that are not on contract next year. For the most part, the most important pieces of this Jets team, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, Jeremy Ruckert, the entire 2022 draft class, throw in Tony Adams, right? DJ Reed, Michael Carter II, the entire defensive line, Quincy Williams, CJ Mosley, all the key pieces on defense are all returning next year. They're all under contract. And on offense, too. Conklin's under contract. We have our center in Joe Tippett for the future. Breece Hall's not going anywhere, right? So there's pieces in place where it's not like the Jets need to, blow everything up. They just need to add and reload and add to the top. And the reality is the rosters, I don't think, is as good as we thought it was in the offseason. But this is the time where the Jets, as a front office, have to go in there, and this is it. This is it. Ashton Davis as well as a free agent. Thank you, RKO. Because he is, a player that actually been playing pretty good for the Jets this season. I would love to keep Ashton Davis. But the reality is, man, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, they ain't going nowhere. And Jets fans need to wrap their head around it. I'm not saying that they should convince themselves that they are the guys for the future because the reality is they have not proved that. They have not won enough to prove us that they know what they're doing. My opinion, I think that Joe Douglas, has built a team on paper where it really looks good. And then after the GM builds a team on paper, it's up to the coaching staff to maximize that talent. And the coaching staff has failed. I think that they failed on a lot of different accounts outside of the defense. They failed on one side of the ball, and that's the offense. You can't celebrate how great the defense is when the offense is literally the opposite direction in terms of the defense is this good, the offense is that bad. It's going to counter itself out. So it's hard to even sing the praise of what the job of Jeff Ulbrich and his staff has done and Robert Saleh and his defensive coaching staff has done because of how bad this offense is. So if Aaron Rodgers can have a full, healthy offseason, rehabbing that Achilles, maybe making some splashy moves on offense in the offseason, bringing in a big free agent wide receiver like a Mike Evans or trading for Devontae Adams, I don't know what the case is going to be in terms of reloading. The Jets will definitely be aggressive because that the Jets are in win-now mode. And that's my point here, is that they are going to do everything that they can to build around Aaron Rodgers and fix this offense and have Hackett go into year two with the players like with Garrett Wilson and run it back. Now, I'm not going to sit here and sell false hope that it's all going to work next year. We have an entire offseason to talk about that. We're still in this season of 3 games to talk about. But this is definitely some news that I needed to go live and just give you guys my thoughts because there's a lot of speculation, a lot of reports insinuating that Aaron Rodgers might actually return this season as soon as next week against the Commanders. That's not happening. Aaron Rodgers is done for the year, so I had to go live and share my thoughts. Jetted out with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Can we put another second-round tender on Huff? I do not believe so. I think that the Jets would have to franchise tag Bryce Huff, which would be a very hefty franchise tag, by the way, which I'd be for. If the Jets can figure out a way to franchise tag him, that is the best case scenario because you have another year with him. It's a fully guaranteed 1-year deal. Other than that, then you let him walk. And the one thing that the Jets could get if they let him walk, which I don't want, by the way, is a compensatory pick, whatever it's called. We get like a 3rd-round pick for one of our own players signing somewhere else. So thank you, Jetted Out, for the generous super chat. I appreciate you guys. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. I would really, really appreciate if you guys can simply smash the like button, guys. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers not returning this season. Let's get into the chat and hear what you guys have to say. What up, Hawk? How you doing, brother? Great to see you in the chat. Rodgers said he wants to play multiple years, but he didn't say it had to be for Robert Saleh. No way he can let a guy who is clearly incompetent continue at that position. I don't know if you saw it, Hawk, but he was asked about Saleh, and he said that he believes in Robert Saleh, and he had a whole thing about the coach. So it seems like, I don't know. I feel like, would Rodgers be lying to us? I don't know. That's how he feels. We will not know how it's going to work until next year. RKO says, I have heard this on multiple radio outlets. Would you give up a 1st-round pick if a trade was possible for Mike Tomlin? The answer is yes, but I don't think this is even possible. I don't think this is going to happen. I think that is just complete fan speculation of what's the best way to save the Jets. Let's trade a first-round pick for Mike Tomlin, one of the greatest coaches in the NFL. Not happening. I mean, I'm sorry, but I am not even considering that as a feasible possibility at all. I mean, I really am not. I don't know about you guys. I mean, is anybody actually believing that's going to happen? Besides losing, what are the other aspects that make Saleh a bad coach? I'm honestly curious. Besides losing, what other, I mean, losing is the biggest one. You're not winning, you're not a good coach, right? I mean, your job as a coach is to coach the team to win. It's that simple. And in year 3, he's still not winning. But the other, I don't know. This is, I mean, it seemed like the entire team gave up this past week. Did he lose the locker room, as people are speculating? Is he too nice of a guy? We know that his defensive scheme is fantastic, but that's not going to really translate to the team. When you're the head coach and you're the CEO, you need to instill a fire and a desire and a sense of energy in every single player playing for the New York Jets. You need to have pep talks. You need to have speeches. You need to prepare their minds. And I think he does a good job at preparing people's minds. I think he has a good perspective of life. And that's what Rodgers said about Saleh that he actually likes. But the reality is, he seems like he hired the wrong guy to focus on the offense in Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, it's ridiculous. I would be stunned if Pittsburgh move on from Tomlin. Me too. I really don't see that. I really don't see that. That was Jake Asman and Connor Hughes saying it. First of all, I'm all in. If Mike Tomlin becomes available, you go all in. I just don't see it as a possibility. Austin with the $5 super chat. Salute to you, my friend. Really do appreciate the super chat. Very generous of you, my man. Richie, what's up, my guy? Tough season for the Jets. I'm sorry. I have one question, though. Do you still have the Dolphins winning the East? I do. I mean, now this is interesting, right? What are the Bills? What's the scenario for the Bills to win the East? The Dolphins would have to lose the next 2. The Bills would have to win the next 2. And then the last game of the season is for the AFC East. Now, the one thing that's going in the Bills' favor is the Dolphins now are going up against 2 really good teams. One of the teams the Bills just bodied in the Dallas Cowboys. So the path is there for the Bills, which is really weird. Like, the Bills have a chance to win the division. And we're sorry that we couldn't help you out by beating the Miami Dolphins. But if the Miami Dolphins lose their next 2 and the Bills win their next 2, that final game in Miami is for the division. So there's a path, Austin. I'll say that. Definitely a path. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. Hey, Richie, do you think the Jets get Davante Adams next season? I think that is a big possibility. 110%. I think that is a big possibility. I'm not going to convince you guys that it's definitely happening, but I really do believe that Davante Adams to the Jets is a big, big possibility. I'm getting this really bad feeling that Hackett might be staying with Rodgers another year with the Jets to sense they can make up for this disastrous year. I hope not. Well, SB, just to say you are correct. That is what is going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Hackett's returning. Rodgers has committed as well. Also, with another super chat. Thank you, Austin. You don't have to keep doing that. Dolphins have to lose one of the next 2 games, and the Bills have to win out. Bills have an easy schedule. Okay, so the Dolphins just have to lose one of the next 2, not even both. So that makes it even more likely for the Bills, because since the Bills beat them, they have the tiebreaker over them. So they just need to have the same record after beating them. Okay, crazy. So it's a little more feasible than you think. If the Dolphins lose one of their next 2 games and the Buffalo Bills win their next 2 games, that means that final game of the year in Miami is for the division and to have home field advantage in a playoff game. Can't lie to you guys without saying I'm jealous that I'm not fighting, or should I say the New York Jets are not fighting for this position, but we shall see. We shall see. What's worse, the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl or the Bills? I don't know, because the Bills, they've never won a Super Bowl ever in their lives. Dolphins have, but it hasn't been in a long time. I think I don't know, honestly. Both of them suck from a Jets fan's perspective. Both of them do. I can't lie to you guys. I can't lie. But the good thing is neither of them will win the Super Bowl. And if one of them do, you guys can clip this and rub it in my face. Don't really care. Nick Mangold as a new offensive line coach. I love that. Now, again, guys, if you're just tuning in, we had some news from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show today. Just let the people know that he is done. He's not playing this season, but he did commit to the Jets for the long term. So that's definitely some news. That's definitely some news. How about them Knicks? Big time win last night against the Lakers. Mike the Stat guys in the chat. What's good, Mike? We're going to run it back. What happens if Rodgers gets hurt again? They get another pass. No way they get another pass. I'd have to assume that the Jets are going to get an actual backup quarterback in the offseason. I think if they learn something, it's about you need a backup plan. I would at least assume that. But the answer to the first part of the question, Mike, yes, they are running it back. And what happens if Rodgers gets hurt again? I don't think they get another pass. I don't. They got one pass, which we're not giving them the pass. It's the organization that's giving them the pass. It's definitely not the fans. I'll tell you that much. Is Zach in concussion protocol? Yes, Zach Wilson is in concussion protocol. If he is cleared, he will be playing this week against Washington. There's a lot of speculation that Zach took himself out of the game and gave up on the team. That's not true. That is totally not true. He got concussed on that hit from Bradley Chubb, and he played through a concussion. He was literally out there with concussion symptoms, playing for his guys, literally doing the opposite of what people said, which is just shows you how conspiracy theories can really just hurt someone's image with false narratives that people were saying Zach Wilson is giving up on the team when he was doing the exact opposite, playing through concussion symptoms, not telling his own medical staffs and his own teammates that I'm literally blurred vision out there in the field, and that eventually it was so obvious to the people that they pulled him out of the game. So, yes, Zach Wilson has a concussion. Enough with the speculation nonsense that has to be a conspiracy theory, like, oh, Zach Wilson gave up on the team. I still think Zach Wilson's gone in the offseason. I'm not saying that saved his career, but, like, let's just relax with the pinning this kid and just making him out there and creating these false narratives, because that's just my least favorite thing in media is when people make fake stories to push their narrative. That is my least favorite thing, and it's my job to try my best, which I don't do it 100%. I try. I'm not perfect here. My best to give you guys the facts and the truth, because I don't sometimes even know the truth, because I'm reading the same stuff you're reading about the reports, about everything, and that's just beyond this Zach Wilson thing. It's just even the Aaron Rodgers news. Oh, Aaron Rodgers medically cleared this week. Who told Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport that? Because it was not the case, like as Aaron Rodgers told us. Guys, the one thing we need to remember, whenever there is a report or anything regarding Aaron Rodgers, let's wait until Tuesdays when he goes on the Pat McAfee show, because I'm never going to believe any report unless I hear from Aaron Rodgers himself. That's something that we could all learn together. Never see a report and we're like, oh, Aaron Rodgers this. No. Wait until we hear from Aaron Rodgers yourself, because today we have news about Aaron Rodgers because we heard it from his own mouth. That is real evidence that Aaron Rodgers is not playing and he's fully committed. Like, for example, if Adam Schefter came out with breaking, Aaron Rodgers is committed to play with the New York Jets the next 2 seasons. Like, I don't even know if I'd believe it. But now that Aaron said it himself with the genuine nature that he did, it's obviously true. JV Bronx says, I appreciate your reel and I'm support. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, bro. Alex says, Richie, are you happy that Aaron is going to be back next year and the year after? I am happy about that. I still believe in Aaron Rodgers. I still believe in him as a quarterback in this league. I think that, if he can stay healthy, the health is the only question. I think if Aaron is on the field playing, he has enough in the tank still, in my opinion, potentially to get this team where we want it to be. So I'm very happy about that. I think that the Jets would benefit from Aaron next year. Did you, Jimmy Jets? I'm just curious. Did you watch what Aaron Rodgers had to say in the Pat McAfee show? Just wondering, because if you heard what the whole story was, this would make sense, but I'm assuming you didn't because they talked about this. And I don't know if I need to explain it all, but if the Jets won this week, he still is not playing this week. He would have done, pushed himself a little more, done 11-on-11 drills in practice, but the timetable in his brain, even since the ruptured Achilles happened, was late January for potential playoff run. That was always what he said. He said that the Washington Commanders game on Christmas Eve was going to be the time where he can really evaluate his Achilles. So I have to disagree with you there. But at least Jets fans are all in this together, and we're all miserable in our own ways. In our own ways, baby. That's really what it comes down to, man. And shout out to everybody tuning in on Twitter, on Instagram, as well as YouTube. We appreciate you guys big time. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way into the show. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys continuously showing your support to the channel here on Jets Media. Excited to be back in the flow of things, back in the workspace, and back creating content with you guys. So let's get this to at least 100 likes. We got 56 likes, and I assume we can do better than that. But again, I don't want to speak for you guys because, let's do it. Tyler says you're a beast content beast, bro. You're a content beast, bro. Well, thank you, sir. I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning on the job, even though this is year 4. Right? Still learning on the job, even though it's year number 4 doing this stuff. No one's perfect. So, guys, we have a proud sponsor of Jets Media. They've been a proud sponsor for a while now, since the summer, and that just so happens to be Manta Sleep, baby. If you guys want to get 10% off, you guys can use promo code JETS to get 10% off your Manta Sleep mask today. Here, let me take the logo off the screen so you guys can see what the code just is. You guys have been hearing me talk about this Manta Sleep mask. I wear mine every single night. This is the silk mask. The one I would personally recommend is definitely the Pro Mask. This is the best one on their website. That's just my opinion. They also have other options. This is a great gift for a family member or even yourself for the holidays. It's also good for kids. And, I'm a big, passionate believer in this because when I first got sponsored by them, I'll be honest with you guys, I never used a mask in my life. I never sleep with a sleep mask. And then when they sent me this, I was like, well, if I'm going to promote it, I definitely got to try it. And since that moment in time, I've never slept without one. And I'm genuine with it. I'm not lying to you guys. Like, I literally sleep with one every single night. It is really, really has changed my sleep. And I prioritize sleep because sleep is really important for your overall well-being, your overall health. So definitely, guys, if you want to click the link I just pinned at the top of the chat, you guys can get 10% discount code on Manta Sleep's website by using my promo code JETS. That's promo code JETS for 10% off. And thank you to my partners over at Manta Sleep for being a sponsor of the channel. All right, let's get back into the chat and hear from you guys. Thank you all for the continuous support, man. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Nick says, Richie, I'm also sorry about TD acts when it comes to the Jets. The Jets D is legit. Top 3 defense. I was very worried about the Pats game, this past game. Yeah, I mean, listen, I really don't let TD get to me about that stuff. You feel me? I know what the reality is about this Jets defense. I don't really care what the trolls have to say in the chat about the Jets defense. I know the reality of the situation because if you're just looking at the stats and watching the box score and saying, oh, the Jets gave up 30 points, and you're just assuming it was all the defense, you simply don't watch the game, and you don't understand everything about it, man. And listen, they did not have their best game. And I'm not going to sit here and defend the defense anymore because I think it's a narrative that, like, the trolls and, like, the Jets haters are going to use against us, and, like, it's not even worth my energy to attack that. It's not even worth my fortitude to, like, prove them wrong because I honestly don't give a crap what they have to say. Because Jets fans know the reality of it. If you watch the game and you see every game this season and you give that defense an offense, that's all I'm going to say. We're going to leave it at that. TD is just a troll, although he makes the roundtable hard to watch for Jets fans. He's great what he does, man. He's great what he does. Who do you want this upcoming draft? I go either Joe Alt or Malik. I like Joe Alt a lot. I mean, it's definitely offensive tackle, wide receiver, and it's going to come down to this. The same thing you have to talk about every single offseason. Where do the Jets go free agency and trade market? Because that is what's going to tell you where the Jets go. If they trade for Devontae Adams, they're not going to draft a receiver. If they go all in for a free agent tackle, they're not going to draft a tackle. So that's going to be more of the answer. But Joe Alt, especially if we let Mekhi Becton walk, I would love to draft Joe Alt because we need a young franchise left tackle. Okay, I Mekhi Becton was supposed to be it. Now, if he's not it, okay, let him walk. Let's get Joe Alt in the building. That's how I look at it. We need to draft at least 3 good offensive line this year. I don't want a defensive player picked until we have at least a tackle. Yeah, I mean, I know that's a lot of people's thought process with it, but, you know, the Jets defense is that good. They still want to add to it. They don't want to forget about the defense. I know that the offense is terrible. I'm not defending it. They need to get the priority number 1 in the offseason, no doubt about it. But they will still draft defense. Hopefully not in the first round, because I definitely don't want that either. Woo. Well, guys, we're going to wrap up the show here. I just wanted to go live for a half hour to break you guys my thoughts of the Aaron Rodgers news. I'm going to make some videos later today, maybe, or tomorrow to break down some things. We appreciate all the support on the channel, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. Let's get to over 100 likes. We appreciate you all so much for tuning in to the Jets Media show here on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. The AFC South Roundtable is live tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you all want to go check us out, what we're doing over there on Roundtable Sports, it's something special, and I would love for the Jets community to be a part of the launch of Roundtable Sports, and that's simply by supporting us on all the Roundtable accounts. We're launching our new Roundtable actually next week, the NFC West Roundtable. So we got a lot of fun things, a lot of exciting things happening outside of Jets Media. So I appreciate you guys big time. Salute to all the support. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, as always, and happy holidays. Peace out, everybody.